Alright, we're traveling down the road south of Arnach. And I guess this region is Losternak, like the bigger region that we're in. Alright. Oh, I remember passing this when Gondor is being besieged. This was full of orcs. Let's see what has happened since then. Gimli and Legolas are here. Glacial.
These are the crossings of Eri, where
Oops. Why did she stop talking? These are the crossings of Eri, where the Castemirs, the usurpers, perished long ago during the kinstrife of Gondor, when his rebellion was at last ended, and the rule of the kingdom was restored. But kings of stewards rule the distant castles and towers, and our people need the blessing of the nearer protectors. And so I and other good people of Lebanon float baskets on the river in memory of the 5 sisters who protected this land in days gone. Some folk believe that they are only a myth, but it is not so. What? The Lone Lady. What am I listening to? It said I'm listening. What? Armor of the Usurper. Well, that thing looks nuts. Listening. Castamir, the Usurper, perished here long ago, but his rage remains. As many years pass, the Lady of Eri... Wait, what did that say? Yeah, world chat made they go away.
The blood spilt in these waters during the kinstrife changed the Lady of Eri.
That she became estranged from her sisters and turned her anger upon the folk who dwelt nearby. Not long ago, she raised the armor of the usurper from these waters and did battle against her sisters. But at last, they were able to soothe her rage, and she was healed of their hurts. So I float these baskets upon her waters as a token of both forgiveness and love, and I hope that she takes notice of them. Alright, Gimli.
It is a good story so far as it goes. A little unbelievable, I think.
Gimli stares at you with amazement when you tell him it is true, and you witnessed the end of the tale as you passed through Lebanon during the war. Really? I missed more than I thought when I agreed to take the ship from Pelargir with Legolas. What happened to the armor of the usurper after the river maidens claimed their sister of her anger? Calmed her sister of her anger.
You say Umbar directed that the armor of the usurper be sent to Pelargir for safekeeping?
That was a wise decision. The Castemir's armor has already proven unable to remain lost. Better to keep it under the watchful eye of Surgon, Lord of Lebanon. But a thought occurs to me. If someone were trying to convince others that he was Castemir's successor, or pretending to be Be'lakor himself, he might make use of artifacts, such as the armor of the weapons. But Elisar also wanted us to help the people. Will you see Glacial safely back to her home? Gimli and I will meet you at Glenath when you return. Yeah, we might go back and do some of the side quests.
You can oppose the dangers to be found between here and Halak.
Still, if you wish to use the folk, if you wish to be of use to the folk of Lebanon, you can oppose some of the dangers found between here and my home at Halak. Wild creatures and the occasional holdout from the war are still to be found. Meet me at my home. Alright. Whoa. So where is her... I'm confused. Where are we? We're going up there? Okay. Ooh, that's a long way. So I guess we'll head... Yeah, we'll kill some bears, I guess. These models look updated. Alright, we're heading south on Upper Labinian map. I don't remember any of these fortresses. But it was so dark and like everything was burning when you come through here during the War of the Ring. Halak. There she is.
Help make the lands between the crossings and Halak more safe?
Okay. I was not in any danger, for the blessing of the 5 sisters are upon me, and their influence extends into the lands washed by the rivers. This lady is kind of a cultist or something. It's kind of weird.
Mercy upon me for listening, stranger. But I understand you're here on the king's business.
That is a joy to me and mine for certain. That you might want to know that some of the folk hereabout aren't true as my family. I've heard some talk that the heirs of Castamere never surrendered, but lie in wait, fostering strength. Seems to me a good way to fight some of these rumors might be to show the king is nearer to us than distant. Would indicate maybe that you are here to do just that. If you'll bring in some fishing nets down to the piers, gather up a couple of crates and building materials around town, you might fill the king's sails with wind. Do these tasks for me, and I will share what else I know. Why am I doing chores for you? The music is very nice. Definitely sounds like an orchestra.
What news
Why is there a
do you bring
Forge
from-
Master here? Forge Masters are how you upgrade, update your legendary weapon as you progress. So it that is what you got to keep tabs on that, because as you level up, I think it's every 6 levels. So when I hit 146, I will probably need to update my legendary weapon. And then all the insertable things in a legendary weapon has to be also upgraded. But it doesn't seem like a pain or anything. Oh, the water's nice. Wow. This is a cool place. Another good tip is if you're having trouble finding things, if you hit delete and U on your keyboard, delete will bring up any interactable thing in your environment, and then U will kind of autopilot take you there and pick it up. So a lot of times when you're like questing and like you're in the middle of a field and you can't see the item and it's like really hard to see, or sometimes it's stuff's hard to click, if you just hit delete and U, it will like auto guide you to the thing. So there's a workbench, so delete fishing net, and then I hit U, so my hands aren't even touching anything. That's a really, really helpful tool, especially in like the starter zones, Arid Lunan Shire, Archit. There's a lot of like picking up quests, and it's really hard to find the stuff. So that delete U is a really, really helpful little hotkey. Return to Bereglang.
I thank you for doing the tasks I had set before me, friend.
Do not be cross with me, for I put the time you spared me to good use. My loyalty to the king and some of my men I will work beside are not as true as Gondor as I am. Not as true as that Gondor as I am. I have learned from the speech of the heirs of Castamere have taken lighting the beacons of Gondor, where they find them unguarded, as a sign to their supporters. I do not know if it is true, but this is what I heard. Look for the beacons, and that will be serpents. There will be serpents nearby. Snakes who endanger the king and his kingdom. Interesting. So the beacons of Gondor are what they lit to ask for aid from the surrounding Gondorian regions and for the Rohirrim. So it sounds like they're reverse using those. Alright, so now we need to head to Gallinath. Alright, we're about the middle of the zone in Gallinath. Oh, that's a cool view right there. Look at that. Oh, that's Pelargir. So that's where you bring the dead army and you attack the Corsairs. That's a cool start. Okay, so Gallinath, we need to meet Legolas. Oh, he's right there.
How went your visit to Harlach?
The heirs of Castamere may never truly disappear, but I think it's becoming clear that their power wanes. An imposter is not as great a threat to Gondor as Balakor himself would have been. The time approaches when we can return to King Elisar and tell him his tour can proceed. Alright. They're really stacking you with gear.
While Gimli and I waited for you to arrive, a resident of this town came to speak with us.
Arvalian, he is called, and he was most interested to learn we plan to continue to Pelargir. The matter that occupies his thought may be of interest to King Elisar. Speak with Arvalian and see what you think. He should be near the center of town. We get some virtue experience for that one. I like that the different Gondorian little settlements have different shield emblems and different halberds. That's pretty cool. Arvanian.
You are welcome to Glanelf, my friend, and on the king's business, no less.
On the king's business, no less. It is remarkable how much can change in the matter of mere months. The war has left a mark on Lebanon, and I expect that it has done the same in other areas of Gondor, but here it marked us deep. For Surgon, our lord, was captured by the Haradrim, and while he was freed from their bonds, the experience changed him. I fear he is no longer suited for rule, and it would be just for the king to permit him to step down. Faltheron, his son, is fully capable of following his father as Lord of Lebanon. I have called the families of Galanath to cast tokens in favor of the proposal. Will you gather these tokens from the collection boxes around town? So Lord Surgon will see how many families support my proposal. Sounds kind of like an insurrection. Alright. Where are these token boxes? The music and the environment is definitely greatly improved in Gondor Renewed. Seems to be an interesting kind of main quest. Aragorn, or King Elisar, is really concerned with getting to like the root causes, helping his people just live better lives. But not everyone's on board with a new king, which makes sense in the books, because like the Steward of Gondor, Denethor, was very reluctant to be usurped by King Elisar. And in the real world,
So many tokens
how
have
often
been
does
cast in support of my proposal.
a ruler come to
This is
power
nearly
without
all.
opposition? Excuse me. So many tokens have been cast in support of my proposal. This is nearly all. I want you to understand the folk of Gilanath hold no ill will towards Sirgon in their hearts. His experience was a mournful one, and it was wrong to expect him to carry on without harm. Let him cede the rule to Lebanon to his son, Faltheron. That will be the best for him, and it will be the best for the lands and must govern. I am certain King Elisar will approve, but we must take single steps first. Sirgon served Gondor, and with the war finished, he earned a peaceful rest and should take it with our gratitude. As you are going soon to Pelargir, you will bring these tokens to him and show him the mind of Gilanath's families. Alright, so gotta head south now. So depending on how long the main quest goes, I think I will come back and do these side quests. LOTRO does a good job of like lots of quests that level you up and you explore the whole area. But if you're following one linear main story, it's really hard to like stay focused on the main story unless you skip those side quests. Talking to Gimli?
I did not understand this proposal when Arvalon told it to us, and I still do not.
He expects Sirgon to simply abandon the lordship of Lebanon because a few families thought he should. No dwarf would do this. At any rate, the sooner we go to Pelargir, the sooner we will return to Minas Tirith. And the tidings we sought, we will have heard plenty of whispers and rumors, but little in the way of real danger. I suppose that is good, but it is also a pity, for my axe needs swinging. I love all the characters in Lord of the Rings. So, like, Aragorn, such an interesting character. You know, you first meet him as a decrepit, kind of run-down ranger, and then find out that he is, like, the heir to the king, but he's, like, very much an underdog. You know, he's not haughty, he's not prideful, he's, you know, a great character, ends up becoming king, and being a really good king. In the appendices to Return of the King, it talks about how Gondor and Umbar really benefited from his kingship. So, you know, that's good. But he's also not like an unrealistic character, because in the books he makes lots of mistakes. Like, he kind of trusts Boromir too much. In the Fellowship of the Ring, he kind of blames himself for the hobbits getting captured. So there's a lot of interesting, like, relatable features in Aragorn. And then Gimli is a fascinating dwarf because he becomes friends with Legolas, and so dwarf and elven relationships are very strenuous in the books. They don't like each other. They don't allow each other in each other's like lands. So that's interesting. And then Gimli also, like, dwarfs are typically governed by gold. That's why, like, Thorin in The Hobbit gets sort of possessed by dragon sickness. And Gimli, it says in the appendices that wealth had no hold on him.
It brings me joy to see you return to Pelargir, my friend, with the specter of war behind us.
You wish to see Sirgon, Lord of Lebanon. His manor is down the street to the west. He will be pleased to see you. I imagine, but be warned that his captivity during the war left a mark upon him, and his spirit is not as vital as it once was. He is still strong and stern. Do not mistake me, but he is changed. Weariness lays upon his brow. This guy has a cool outfit too. It's got the Tree of Gondor, but it's like blue. Chainmail. I wonder if we can unlock all these outfits and halberds. So here's Pelargir in a restored state. So last time you come through here in an epic battle, and it's just besieged by orcs, and it's kind of rubbly. And it's like constant battle music. So this is neat. Look at this. I like all the winged architecture. That's cool. Sirgon's Manor. Whoa. I almost fell through the floor. I guess the assets needed to load in. Okay. Oh, this guy's living pretty lavishly. This place is huge. Alright, enter Sirgon's manor in Pelargir and find Lord... And find its Lord, okay. Oh, he's just sitting.
Welcome to my home. What brings you so far from the White City?
I offer you what hospitality I can, though it cannot hope to match the King of Minas Tirith. What brings you as far from the White City? You tell Sirgon that King Elisar has sent you to help heal the hurts of the war and to prepare the way for his own tour of the kingdom. That is a worthy purpose, the war. The war may be ended, but the scar it left behind cuts deep. How fare the towns within my purview? Reluctantly, you tell Sirgon the people of Gilleneth have proposed that he step down as Lord of Lebanon and leave the lordship to his son, Faltheron, and show him the tokens they cast. I see, he says. It's a nice little, like, indoor fountain garden area.
Maybe the people of Glaniath are right.
The days of my youth are far behind me now. Who will follow a leader so easily captured in war, as I was by the men of Harad? Respect is hard to gain, but is easy to lose. These were moments I disbanded and thought Lebanon would be better off served if I never had returned. Sirgon sighs heavily and looks you in the eye. This war was not supposed to be my life. Meet me in my room of keepsakes to the north. All right. This room? Nope. To the north. Oh, so the next room over. Up the stairs? Nope, not upstairs. Talk to Sirgon and oh, right here. Look at this ship. That's cool. It's a pretty high fidelity model. Okay. I once was the master of the fleets of Gondor, Bromvar. I sailed across the Bay of Belfalas in the direction of the Steward, and brought the might of Gondor to bear whenever it was needed. I remember the smell of the salt and spray on the cry of gulls overhead. When I was held captive during the war, I feared for my family and for the people in my charge. But I am ashamed to admit that I also feared I would die in a land. I was a man of the sea, Bromvar, but in recent days I have felt penned up in the city of this kingdom, in my very title, Lord of Lebanon. Rather I would be once again the Lord of ships, the Lord of tide and wave. See the keepsakes I have gathered in my life. You know what I have come across. Examine Sirgon's keepsakes. Stuffed white bear. The bright white bear's fur would be of little use in any land of Gondor. Oh, that's a fell beast. The mouth of the fell beast is frozen. That's what the Nazgul ride. That's pretty cool. A Rohirric tapestry. It's killing a boar. This is neat. Sorcerer's skeleton and armor. Like a necromancer or something. Rohirric tapestry depicting the Red Arrow. So this, of course, is the agreement between Gondor and Rohan that when the Red Arrow is passed, that one of the nations is asking for help from the other. Collection of shields on display. Is this a Mumakil tusk? Large reserves skull with tusks. It's pretty cool. Brilliant pink jewel. Tuft birds. Orc armor. Uruk armor. I like that they make the Urukai like a lot bigger in Lord of the Rings Online. Caged songbird. So many memories. Perhaps my son should succeed me. It took the folk of Gleneth to make me realize something I think I have known for these past few months, but did not express. My heart does not belong on land. I wish to sail again. I can better serve King Elisar from the deck of a ship, as I did in prior years. Faltheron should rule in Lebanon. There's Faltheron.
My father has been seized by one of his moods again, I see.
He has always suffered from the call of the gulls, the pull of the sea, and it has been worse in recent days. I do not desire to rule in Lebanon, but I will do so if that is my father's wish. Alright, so another tip, whenever you get a virtue experience, always go into your character panel, go to virtue, and make sure that you select the green earning. And make sure it's the one you want to earn, because if you just hit accept and you get virtue, it'll just go to whatever. And oftentimes it goes to like charity or something. That's not really helpful. So my virtues, I have valor, wit, confidence, zeal, and determination. And critical rating and physical mastery is really good on my red line guardian. Those are the ones I'm really prioritizing. So I've already upgraded valor to 99, 91, 91. So now I have wit and earning. So make sure you have the right one selected, then hit accept.
The armor of the usurper. Aye.
And then, yeah. I didn't realize that till like somewhat recently, that you had to select your virtue. The day is not yet here. That day is not yet here. But still, you must tell me what brings you to Pelargir. The armor of the usurper? Question mark. I know it. Angbor of Lamadon sent it to us several months ago, charging my father with the safekeeping, and so it is kept safe. You are welcome to see it for yourself, Bromvar. The armory of Pelargir is in the south of the manor. With permission of the guards, will allow you to pass. They are men and women of true hearts and proven loyalty. They guard the armory of day and night. Cool. Well, this is a cool room. Kind of a cool story of the king being a mariner and wanting to be back. Find the Pelargir army south of Sirgon's manor. Okay, we gotta go back outside. Alright, traveling in Pelargir. Gotta get to the armory to check out the usurpers. It's cool, like little, not quite a moat, but maybe like aqueducts. Little rivers throughout the city. That's neat. Little artificial locks. Kind of reminds me of like the Panama Canal. I watched a video on like how the Panama Canal works and everything. It's fascinating. Alright, this is the guard of the armory.
You have come at the request of Lord Sirgon and his son?
What brings the such as you here? Oh, brings 3. Okay. You tell Suragil that the supporters of the heirs of Castamere may seek to steal his armor for their own purposes, and the Lord of Lebanon wants to ensure that it is kept safe. He need not fear on that account, friend. We take great care and keep of unknown folk from entering the armory. Why, a suspicious woman has been watching us from a distance for the past few days. I have yet to see her today. Rest assured, we will keep an eye upon her when we do see her skulking about. You are welcome to go inside and check on the armor yourself. You and your companions would stick in my memory well enough that I do not think you are the sort that we need to suspect. In gratitude, perhaps you will deal with some of the pests within. Why are there pests within the armory? I love it how everything, like in Lord of the Rings Online, a lot of times in MMOs, rats. They will just reuse assets, so like every interior building is going to be the same, every interior and cave is going to be the same, cookie cutter, kind of dry. Lord of the Rings Online really doesn't do that. Maybe in the beginning, 1 to 50th levels, there's a lot of cookie cutter dry, but that was like 2006. I feel like every expansion, every new zone I go into, it's completely different. And like, look at all these, you know, things they've added into a room that would otherwise just be empty. Pretty interesting. Alright, well, we got rid of the pests. My quest updated, but I didn't see any. Go back and talk to the guard, I guess. I don't think it was in there. I think it was the point. We'll see. I don't know. Castamir's armor remains where it was left.
Castamir's armor remains where it was left. I told you so.
But look here. The sulking woman is back. She watches us from yonder, pretending that we are not the object of her attention. But it is clear to me that she spies upon us even now.
I have had an idea.
If we stage a performance for the benefit of this spy, we might make able to learn if she works for the heirs of Castamir, and then turn the knowledge to our benefit. Legolas smiles at you briefly before the elf adopts a painful expression. Convince Legolas that you are...
I should have expected no less from such as you.
Now you should stroll most casually in the direction of the skulking spy, my friend. Perhaps she will be interested to speak to you, and if you can draw from her some knowledge of the heirs of Castamir or their supporters, we will be aided. And let there be no hard feelings between us, Bromvar. Such a performance did not come easily for me, and it has served as an effective bait for the suspicious fish. It will prove worthwhile. Gimli and I will meet you back at Sirgon's Manor once you have spoken to the onlooker. So, who are we talking about?
Gimli and I.
Oh, this lady? Aethel?
I beg your pardon, stranger, but I could not help but notice your argument.
With that elf over there. Did he give you insult? I have seen such as he treat others with disrespect, and often enough that will become to me a sad indicator that all the folk believe themselves to be our betters. You tell the woman that he took an issue with some statements you made about the new queen of Gondor, and she studies you closely. Is that so? She asks. Perhaps you would like to hear my own thoughts on the subject.
I do not begrudge Elisar his choice of wife. Were he not king, he could marry anyone he wished.
And he would have by blessing. But if he is to be king, he should put the needs of Gondor ahead of the heart's call. If Gondor is to have a queen, she should be a woman of Gondor. Does he not know the history of his own kingdom? Eldacar married a North woman and caused much bloodshed. Does Elisar desire another kin strife? The scribes named Castamir the usurper for trying to restore Gondor, and he perished for it. But even today, there are some who believe in that for which he stood. If you join with them, you may be well rewarded and see the return of the king who praised the Gondor should be. One of the beacons of Gondor remains, and it casts Castamir's shadow long and far. If you are a friend to those who wish to remain so, you will agree with me. We must act in the shadows for now, but keep down our voices, for you never know when it might be who might be watching us. Man, it's like hard to read that because she was talking really weird. We agree with her. Return to Sirgon's manor with what you have learned. So I gotta go back over the bridge. Kind of an intriguing story. It's more like political than than like danger orcs and stuff. But it is setting the stage pretty well. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. The Kinstrife was like kind of a Gondorian civil war. So it's interesting they bring it up. Alright, back into Sirgon's manor. Alright. See, back in the center room. Yeah.
I have 2 questions for you, my friend.
Was she convinced of our display? Yes to both. Very good, Bromvar. I am sorry it fell to you to play the part, but if she believes your interests are aligned with hers, we may be able to follow this thread to sit to its very source and learn who leads the heirs of Castamere.
If it were up to me, I would have shown this woman the blade of my axe.
And gotten just as much answers, if not more. But Legolas says that we would not be wise. Does it matter where the wisdom comes from, if it might be gotten more swiftly one way than by another? If you must be the play-acting spy today, so be it. But when it comes to fighting as it always does, don't be too slow to set aside the lies and pick up your weapons. Legolas and I will return to Minas Tirith to tell the king what we have learned on this journey. And you won't be coming with us. You have somewhere else to go. I understand. Alright, now we talk to Faltheron. Legolas and Gimli told me about the woman you met. What were her words? One of the beacons of Gondor remains lit, and it casts Castamir's shadow long and far. So she may have been speaking in riddles, but I think it's more likely she meant her people keep an eye on the beacons, lit even in the aftermath of the war. My scouts have reported smoke on the horizon to the northwest. It is possible Amon Engelbed could be the source of it. This is where you should go if you think to find some supporters of hers. But be cautious, these could well prove to be dangerous folk. If you suspect your beliefs to align with theirs, you should continue to convince them and stand beside them until you have learned what you need. Alright, sounds like we're going to go to Amon Engelbed. Let's look on the map. Looks like Lower Lebanon. So we're going to go to the west. So, okay. Well, we'll do that in the next episode.